let's welcome in the Powerhouse panel on this Thursday morning. Got a great panel. We start with Senior Fellow for the American Conservative Union. Mercedes Schlapp is back with us. Turning Point USA contributor, Republican strategist, and attorney Aaron Elmore back here with us on Wake Up, and National Advisory Board member for Project 21, Christopher Arps, is here. By the way, something that doesn't get talked about, Aaron, just you are an attorney. I thought this was fascinating. So right after this happened, it took 2 days. The DA filed charges, which for something this serious is totally unusual. But Facebook instantly labeled Rittenhouse a mass shooter and disabled all accounts that were trying to raise money for his defense. Nobody brings this up, but this is yet another reason why Section 230 doesn't need to be amended, like Facebook's trying to run PR TV commercials right now saying we should amend Section 230. It needs to be rewritten from soup to nuts.
Soup to nuts is right. It needs to be completely rewritten because the environment in which we live in terms of social media has completely changed. We already know that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of these social media platforms are blocking free speech. They're saying it's misinformation. This is not how these platforms are supposed to work. They're supposed to let the marketplace of ideas flourish, and they're sort of having this hands-off approach, saying, hey, we are just publishing the information. We are not responsible for the content. Well, it certainly seems now that they are responsible for controlling the content. Therefore, the way that 230 is working isn't working.
Yeah.
So you're 1,000% right, needs to be rewritten.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting. And again, Mark Garagos is going to join us and break this down in just a couple of minutes. But The question that the defense attorney posed to the jury yesterday, I thought was perfect. He said, if Kyle Rittenhouse did not open fire in a controlled fashion, by the way, it was a controlled fashion, would he have lived through the night? And I think it's going to be up to the jury to decide the answer to that question. I'm not sure. He was being attacked on that street. You can all see the video. It's pretty clear to me, and thank goodness for video, by the way. Okay, it looks like kids. We've got a parent panel here this morning. Kids are already in the process, 5 to 11, getting vaccinated. Again, I think that should be up to parents and not up to elected bureaucrats or people that have been in the bureaucracy for over 40 years, like Dr. Anthony Fauci. But Rochelle Walensky, the head of the CDC, says that kids will be wearing masks even once they are vaccinated in schools, at least for right now. Take a listen.
So that means kids should continue to wear masks even if they're vaccinated?
And I would say masks are for now, but they are not forever.
Okay, well, Mercy, I'm going to show you a tweet. This is from Rochelle Walensky a couple of days ago. Masks can help reduce your chance of COVID-19 infection by more than 80%. Masks can also help protect you from other illnesses like the common cold and flu. Wearing a mask along with getting vaccinated are important steps to staying healthy. Again, that coming from Rochelle Walensky. Hear that part right there, though? Help protect you from other illnesses, the common cold and the flu. They literally want us, Mercedes, to wear these masks forever. She threw in other illnesses. It's no longer just to prevent COVID-19.
Well, now you have the superpower CDC. The amount of power that the CDC has right now is the one that's dictating every single health policy in the United States. They're not taking into account the fact of what are the psychological impacts of children wearing masks 8 hours a day, especially in those critical developmental years of our children. And what are the mental health components associated with it as well? This is what's so infuriating, is that these schools, districts need to stop listening to the CDC, figure out what's the best solution for their school district, and apply it. That's what you're seeing, for example, with the superintendent of Miami, Florida, Miami-Dade. He came out and said, mask optional, whether you're vaccinated or not vaccinated. And what's so disturbing is that the fact that you're still having to wear the mask if you are vaccinated. So that raises even more questions.
I can't believe that we're still wearing masks after the November 2021 elections, which we just had 7 days, or last week, 9 days ago. We are still talking about this. If the Democrats, Chris, have their way, they want control. This is all about control. This will carry all the way through November 2022 if the Democrats get their way.
I agree. And what bothers me the most about these mask mandates for children is we're teaching our children to be fearful, and that we have to live in fear. That's not the type of world that we have. Yeah. You know, you look at the comparison between this and common childhood diseases. There is no comparison. Polio, rubella, those type of diseases, if children get those, they're probably going to die. With COVID, they have a 98, 99% survival rate.
Over 99.
There's no comparison.
Yeah. It's over 99. And very rarely does somebody die with COVID-19 who doesn't have some sort of comorbidity or is in poor health. Aaron, I can tell you got a thought.
Yeah, thank you. You're so attentive. You know, I just want people to know that places like Florida and Texas, masks are not a part of our life.
Right.
COVID doesn't really exist. Sure, if you're elderly or have underlying conditions, you take precautions. I don't even have masks on my person. And when I come to the Northeast, like I'm visiting now, it's a completely different way of life. And I think people don't know that other people are living completely free. And our children, by the way, getting the common cold is okay. It builds your immune system.
Exactly. Exactly.
I say this all the time. When people say, I'm vaccinated, and they brag about it, I said, if you got the polio vaccine and then got polio, would you say that vaccine worked?
Right.
I think not. Why are we running cover for Big Pharma on COVID? It is really staggering to know how people's brains are processing this disease.
Mercedes, what do you make of the wrist mask thing now? I'm up here in New York City. The percent positive rate now, 1.5%. But everyone walks around with a mask on their wrist like you'd have a gun in a holster, like you're ready to put it on, just in case you come into a situation. It's almost like a fashion. No, I have it here to virtue signal that I'm willing to follow the rules and comply at any time. If I do have a mask with me, it's stuffed. It's buried in a pocket. I don't wear it on my wrist to look cool and virtue signal.
I got to tell you, for Christmas, it's cheaper than buying your wife a tennis bracelet. That's
you got
for
that
sure.
right. Absolutely.
But,
she'll never get it, but you can pay for it. Yeah.
She deserves it.
Yes.
So, I think what's so strange is that we are allowing ourselves from a psychological standpoint to just give in and not question. And that is very problematic. And Aaron brought up a good point. It's this constant, like, you almost have to wear a badge if you're vaccinated versus you're not vaccinated. It's like, yes, I'm vaccinated. It's like, I want to go through a day where we don't talk about vaccines or COVID or mask. If we can accomplish that, we're in a good place, because I do believe that none of the rules make sense. You walk in with a mask and then you take off your mask when you're sitting at the table, and you're still near other people. And the reality is that these rules that have been changing for a long time by the CDC, they're simply not effective, and it's created a huge confusion across the country.
Such a good point. You can have it one way or the other. You can either have vaccinations and no masks or just masks. You can't have it both ways. It's so weird. What's happening in my daughter's school, she's 5. So a couple of her little friends have been vaccinated. And now there's this weird, my daughter asked me about it. There's this weird dynamic happening between the kids that have gotten vaccinated, which is great. Their parents made that decision for them, and the kids that haven't. So my daughter kind of feels like almost left out in a weird way. It's just, it's very bizarre what we're forcing on such young, impressionable kids. She's in kindergarten. She's dealing with this. Wow. She shouldn't be. All right, panel, we appreciate you joining us, especially on this Veterans Day. Mercedes Schlapp, Chris Arps, Aaron Elmore, so good to see you. Thank you.